Hi, it's Jim from Krazydad. Today we're going to be solving a skyscraper puzzle. This is a skyscraper puzzle. Let's take a look at it, shall we? It is a Latin square in a finished puzzle. Every row and every column will have all the numbers 1 through however big the puzzle is. This is a 5 by 5, so 1 through 5. And there's these curious clues on the side. What do those clues mean? Well, let's take a look. Here's the puzzle. Here's how you need to think of the puzzle. Every tile in the puzzle is a building, and the number on the tile represents the height of the building. The 5s are the tallest buildings. 4, 3, 2, 1 is the smallest building. Let's take a look at this clue here, the 4. The 4 is looking into this bottom row from that side, and it represents how many buildings you can see if you're standing there. So we can see the 1, we can see the 2, the 4, and the 5, but we can't see the 3 because the 5 is obscuring it or occluding it. So we can only see 4 buildings. From the opposite side, there's a 2 clue that you can see peeking out there, and that's because we can see the 3 and the 5, but nothing else. Everything else is shadowed. And similarly, looking up the column, we can see 2 buildings from the bottom, and we can see 3 buildings from the opposite side, and I believe that clue is a 3. Let's confirm that. Yes, it's a 3. So that's basically how the puzzle works. Let's go ahead and solve some of these. Okay, here we are at the website. You can find the skyscrapers by scrolling down and eventually finding them, but a quicker way is to select Sudoku and then skyscraper, and that'll filter out all the available skyscraper puzzles. If you just want the interactive ones, hit the interactive button. We're going to start with the 4x4 puzzle. We'll solve a 5x and a 6x. There's also a skyscraper Sudoku puzzle and some other variants as well, which add other kinds of clues or jigsaw shapes, things like that. They're all worth checking out, but if you haven't done these before, I would start with maybe the 5x or even the 4x, just to understand how the clues work. So we'll start with the 4x. Let's see. One thing you should note is that the largest number is always going to appear on every row and column, which means it appears in this top row. So one of these cells is the largest number, which is 4. And when the largest number appears on a row on the edge like this, the clue has to be 1, like this, because it's going to obscure all the other buildings. So the first thing you typically want to do is look for the 1s on the edges and go ahead and fill in those biggest numbers. And that basically gets us all our 4s. I can see here that this clue is a 3, and the remaining numbers here are 2 and 3, and they must go in this order so that you can see all 3 buildings. If it were 2, 3, the 3 would be obscuring the 2, and you would only see 2 buildings. And only 1 choice remaining there, only 1 choice remaining there. This is another 2, 3 situation because of that 3 clue. And this is a 1, 2 situation because of that 3 clue. And we're done. Let's go ahead and solve a 5x5 puzzle. Once again, I'm going to look for the 1s and use the largest number on the edges. There's a 1. There's a 1. There's a 1 on the corner that covers both needs. So now we only have 3 out of our 4 5s, or out of our 5 5s. So possibly a 5 there, possibly a 5 there. I believe this one has to be the 5 because of that 2 clue. If this was the 5, we'd be able to see other stuff in front of it, which would mean we'd be seeing more than 2 buildings. You always see the front building. That's got to be a 5. And that's our other 5. Because of this 4 clue, I know there's going to be 3 ascending numbers here, like 1, 2, 4, something like that. All 3 of these buildings must be visible. That means these 2 can't be 1s, and this one can't be a 2. So it's a 3 or a 4, but it can't be 3, so it must be the 4. Can't be 3 because of the cross. And it looks like we have a lot of our 3s now, so we can now use just basic Latin square rules to isolate things. In this row, I can't have a 3 here. I can't have a 3 there, so that's got to be the 3. And that's our remaining 3. This is 2 or 1. That's 2 or 1. But that one can't be 1, so it must be 2. And this is 1. That's got to be 4 because of the row 1. These two cells are 2 and 4. The 4 can't be in front because then it would be 4 or 5 and you'd only be seeing 2 and the clue is 3. So it must be 2 and 4. There's our 2 there. There's our 1. There's our 2. We've got 1, 4 here, 1, 4 there. This can't be a 4. 1, 2. Puzzle's done. Let's do a 6 by 6. Okay, here we are on the 6 by 6. Once again, I'm going to look for 1s on the edges and put in the largest number, which is 6. That one's already done. That one is done. We have 4 out of our 6 6s. The 2 remaining go in these 2 rows. This row can't have a 6 there. Might have a 6 there. Might have a 6 there. This row can't have a 6 here. Can't have a 6 here. So there must be a 6 there. And this is our remaining 6. Now let's take a look at 2s that have a 6 that's very far away, such as this column here. So in order for that 2 to work, there has to be a very large number right here because the only 2 cells that we can see are this one in the front and this one down here. So this has to shadow all the others, which means it can only be 5. In this column, it's not necessarily 5. Well, we know it's not 5, but it's not necessarily 5 because the 6 is quite close. So you're looking for 2s where the 6 is quite far away. Let's see if there's another one of those. Here's one. So in this row, there's a 6 that's very far away, and we can only see 2 buildings, and we haven't used the 5 yet, so this must be the 5 there. This is the cell that's remaining. So we've completed this row. Let's take a look at the row above it. What is left? We have 1s, 4s, and 5s. 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. This cell can't be 1 because there's already a 1. This cell can't be 4. This cell can't be 5. If this cell were 1, we'd be able to see more than 3 buildings. We'd see 1, 3, and then a 5 somewhere here, and then the 6. So this cell must be 4, which means that's 5, and that's 1. Now we've begun to narrow down our 5s at this point. The remaining places that we can put 5s are where? We've got 3 of them. That is possibly a 5 or a 1. That's possibly a 5 or a 1. If it were a 1, we would see more than 2 buildings, so this has to be a 5. That's a 1. One of these 2 cells is a 5. And in this row, can't be a 5, can't be a 5, can't be a 5, so this is a 5, which means this is a 5, and I think we have all our 5s. In this row, we can narrow down the 2s. This can't be a 2, this can't be a 2, so that must be a 2. In this row, the only cell that can be 2 is this one. We can get our 1 on that column. The remaining choices in this column are 1 and 3, but there's already a 1 there, so this is 3. That's 1. That's 3. That's 4. Got 3, 4 here, 3, 4 here, but there's already a 3, so this is 4. This is 3. This is 2, 3, 1. And that's the skyscraper puzzle. Have fun climbing those buildings.